Kilwinning is a small town, semi-rural, based on the west coast of Scotland, about 30 miles south of Glasgow. Historically, it's been quite an important place, but fairly overlooked in the historical record. It has a medieval abbey dating from the 12th century, and it was founded by the Tyrannesians. Right, you can see the arched windows of the chapter house. Above is the south transept with its distinctive windows, and beyond the chapter house is the slype to the graveyard. In front is the processional archway leading from the cloisters to the nave, and to the right is the reconstructed Abbey Tower. Below this are the ruins with vaulted ceilings presented to the public as ancillary living and working space for the monks. We'll look at this more closely. I'm most interested in the southwest corner of the abbey and the 17th to 19th century overbuild of this area. You can see a window and doorway that ostensibly look part of the abbey. However, it's actually a tenement which was overbuilt on the abbey ruins. Here you can see a double row of ruins as they are today, and in the older photograph how they looked originally, numbers 11 and 12 the Green and Alexander Ritten's house. In the next two photographs, see if you can spot the distinctive archway. This area had archaeological excavations in 2010 and 2011 under Kilwinning Community Archaeology Project. Lots of artefacts were found, but mostly pieces of household china and pottery. There had been a previous archaeological excavation back in the 60s done by the Ministry of Works, and a lot of the major artefacts had been taken away at that point, although records had been lost as to what actually had been found. But what intrigued me was the social history of this area of the abbey, and we were able to identify some of the residents of the properties. In the three-storey house, which is in the rear row of the buildings, we were able to establish that in the right-hand side lived Samuel Osborne, who was a postman for his whole life, and in the right-hand side lived the Patterson family. Mr. Patterson Sr. was a cabinet maker, good enough to end up working for the Earl of Eglinton and receiving a tied cottage from the Earl of Eglinton. His son did start off life as a joiner and cabinet maker, but I imagine his hobby quickly caught his imagination and he became a photographer and turned part of the house into a photographic studio where he produced carte de visite for all the local worthies. The Abbey Green that you see here in the old photographs no longer exists. It's now been overbuilt by modern housing and roads. This is a great shame, as many visitors and local people are not aware that such a community lived cheek by jowl with the abbey itself, with many of their houses dating back to the 1600s and having been developed over time. But unfortunately, the conditions of the housing meant that they had to come down.